Welcome to the Engineering Influence podcast from the American Council of Engineering Companies. And this week we have our new incoming class of ExCom, or Executive Committee volunteer leaders who ran and were selected to be part of a small group that directs ACEC National and its strategic direction and really the way that the council operates over a course of a couple of years. And including in that group, we have a crop of new vice chairs, one of whom is sitting with me right now, Kurt Yoshii from California. Kurt, congratulations.
Thank you, Jeff.
Welcome, and hopefully orientation went well.
It went great. Yeah.
Death by PowerPoint. And
yeah.
Each department coming in and saying, this is what we do and this is how it operates.
A lot of information.
A lot.
Information.
Well, I mean, for those out in the audience who might not know you personally, tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got engaged with ACEC.
Sure. So I'm a civil engineer. Mm-hmm. Licensed civil and geotechnical engineer, state of California, and also licensed in a few other states. Mm-hmm. My career spans over 30 years, I guess, 34 years, I guess now, 35 years. Last 30 years have been with Nino & Moore, geotechnical environmental consultants. So we're a geotechnical environmental consulting firm in 6 states in the Southwest, headquartered in California. Mm-hmm. And I got involved with ACEC, maybe time flies. We're having fun. Probably 10 to 15 years ago, definitely over 10 years ago, maybe not quite 15, I think.
Orange County area?
In Orange County, yes. In California, we have, a number of chapters. So I got involved with the local chapter of mine, which is Orange County chapter. I went through their leadership roles at that level, then became a state director, and then got on the state board for ACEC California, and then went through the leadership roles there at California. Became the national director for ACEC California. And then I decided to, throw my hat in the ring for vice chair at the national level.
So you have both the state and now you're going to have, the national experience. How do you think that time moving up the ranks in Orange County chapter and then through ACEC California is going to help you as you come on board ExCom?
It's constant learning, right? Yeah. As time goes on, you continue to learn more and more. And I think for me personally, being on the local board, it introduced me to a lot more of the local politics and things of that nature that I hadn't really been exposed to before joining the organization. Cause, most other organizations are technical, educational, not really the business side and lobbying information. So then I learned a lot at the local level in Orange County. And then, obviously at the state level, now we have our paid staff lobbyists in California that are dealing with a lot of legislative issues to protect our industry. So that was very eye-opening and it got me excited about being a part of that in the leadership there in the California. And then of course that's led me on and sparked me on to become interested in stuff that's happening here in DC at the federal level.
But you also have the experience on the technical side because you're part of the Geo Coalition, right? So you have that, and that explain a little bit about that for people. I mean, and again, this might be a plug for coalitions because if you are a specialist in geo or any mechanical, whatever, there's a coalition for you within ACEC. So kind of explain that and like what you find the benefit is of coalition membership.
So I was fortunate enough to become one of the founding members of the Geo Professional Coalition when it first started. And the coalitions are great because they are a group of people that are industry specific. I mean, there's some coalitions that are firm size, but then they're technical practice size. So for me personally, for our company, it was been great because I could talk about issues that we're facing in California with colleagues that are in other parts of the United States who, in theory, I call them colleagues, but in theory, they could be competitors, but we're not practicing in the same regions, in the same market areas. So we can openly share some of the struggles that we're dealing with and how we're overcoming similar issues and similar problems. And it's also nice to know you're not alone. Sometimes in some of these issues that you face, and these are issues that maybe some of my other colleagues in the, the water, if you're designing water or if you're designing buildings, wouldn't have, right? These are issues that we face as geoprofessionals. So it's been a great experience expanding the network of people that you can reach out to and ask questions to. And it's just been great.
Creates a nice neutral territory for competitors to come together and share information and realize, like you said, they're not alone. I hear that a lot from coalition members. They're like, oh my God, I'm not the only one dealing with this.
Correct.
And coming from California where, Yeah, but I guess the old joke is that if there's going to be a regulation, good chance it starts in California and then it starts moving around this.
It
so
works its
everybody,
way.
yeah, see what you're doing, and then it's going to impact them maybe a year or two down the line. What are you coming on as a vice chair? In your mind, what do you want to help accomplish? What do you want to do to push ACEC forward as an organization and kind of leave your mark on the national group?
I think for me, I mean, I'm just honored to be here and be part of this group. I've seen over the years the XCOM and that just group of professionals, and for me, I just want to be a part of that, to see also the inner workings. So, it's being a national director, you see at the board meetings how things work. As being part of the coalitions, I saw how that part worked, but I just wanted to get a better understanding of how the whole picture works. And I felt the only way I could really do that is to be involved, get on XCOM. And, we're looking at our strategic plan and updating that. And I think to be part of that process and maybe have a voice and a say is where we're going as an organization in the future was also very inspiring and interesting for me.
There's so many moving parts of the organization, and we're all trying to make it aligned, and we're trying to do these strategic initiatives. It's beneficial to have a perspective like yours come on and maybe see something that we don't, because we're so ingrained in the day to day, to be able to say, well, if you move this piece here, you're probably going to be able to, free up or, accomplish something more over here.
Sure. I mean, that's part of the whole collaboration of XCOM, and even in big design, design build, big group settings, when you're trying to tackle problems, that brainstorming, I think is critical, right? Because like I said, things will, in that discussion with your colleagues, solutions come up that you may not have got to by yourself if that person didn't make that comment or say those things that got you thinking, oh, what about this? Yeah,
exactly. Well, we'll be coming to San Diego later on in the year.
Looking forward to that.
For the fall conference, if not sooner. I mean, just given the situation going on a little north of Orange County, of course, with the fires, and seeing exactly, maybe there's a chance for the road show to come and take a look at and see what the response has been. I would imagine, in California, engineering firms are going to be first responders there and getting back in and trying to figure out exactly how to approach rebuilding.
It is, the good and the bad. We've had, almost a fire, it seems like almost every year, almost season in some part of California. That's just been very devastating. And, it over time, my first job out of school actually was right after the Oakland Hills fire in 1991. And I was, literally there drilling holes in the ground as soon as they let the public in. And I remember seeing firsthand that devastation. But it seemed like from then, for many, many years, it was years before you heard about really extreme wildfires in California. And now, Northern California, Southern California, seems like almost every year we're seeing this. So it's devastating. I think it's also, it tests our infrastructure. I know we had some water issue, water pressure issues in the Eaton fire. So I think all of these things are learning experience for us. How do we get better? How do we build our infrastructure to be more resilient? Yeah, and that's where the engineering industry steps in, tries to solve the problems. Because you look at the devastation and you see it on the skin of the land, but you don't realize that it goes into the soil, goes into the water. It affects reconstruction and everything. That's where the geotechs come in. That's where everybody in the environmental side comes in and tries to figure out exactly how to rebuild, and hopefully more resilient and structurally sound to deal with the fact that your point, it's almost like a endemic wildfire season. It's just always going to happen. It's having to happen more often.
Yeah.
And it seems to be more intense. It seems.
Well, on a more positive note, one of the things that happens at the spring convention when the changeover happens is that at that first XCOM meeting, everybody's given their regions of the country. And I know that usually is the purview of the chair to determine that. Would you have a region that you're looking for, or are you good wherever they put you?
Well, I'm a team player, so I'll be good wherever they put me. But if had my druthers, right, the Southwest. I know that's one of the regions that's open, and for me it would be beneficial, I think, in multiple ways. Unfortunately, we have offices in some of those states that aren't active members of the local MOs.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping to, change that within our
get them more engaged.
Get them engaged and, let them understand the reason ACEC exists and how to get involved and how that's going to be beneficial. So that's, kind of on my internal underlying side to help push that. So that would be my goal. Again, it's up to Mr. Athke. So we'll see how that goes.
Well, we look forward to working with you, as you come on board, and really appreciate the time you spent up here.
Thanks for having me.
Weather's worse here than California. I'm sorry. It's sadly, it's still winter. So what can you do?
What do you do?
Yeah, I know. Well, again, that has been Engineering Influence, a podcast from the American Council of Engineering Companies, and we will see you next time.